in the project to achieve the success? Implement the ideas. So you are coming up with your plans. So you are coming up with your plans. So what are you thinking in the planning? What are you thinking in the planning work? What is the meaning of planning, basically? How to utilize the resources. Okay. How are you going to manage the scope of work? How are you going to manage the timeline expected by the stakeholders? How are you going to manage to complete the project within the agreed budget? How are you going to meet the requirements of the stakeholder, which is you are thinking about quality aspect? How are you going to manage the resources? So basically through the planning, you are thinking about what is your strategy and approach in managing the various works of the project. Thereby, we will be able to achieve the objectives of the project. Right? So what are you doing to develop the plans? What are you utilizing it? So you need to develop, say, schedule. How are you developing the schedule? What are you utilizing to develop the schedule? Tools and techniques. So it requires you are applying your knowledge. You are applying your skills, tools and techniques in developing the plan. That's what the project management. So project management is nothing but application of your knowledge, skills, tools and techniques to the project activities in order to meet the stakeholders' requirements or project requirements. What is the advantage of using formal project management practices? You will have a better control of your financial, physical, and human resources. You have planned for each element. Right? Improved customer relations. What do you mean by improved customer relations? What the customers are looking from you? Good morning, good afternoon. What they're looking from you? Results. End of the day, they're looking at you whether you will be able to produce the deliverables according to their requirements. Right? These are looking from you. So how are you going to demonstrate to them that you will be able to produce the deliverables according to their requirements? How are you going to demonstrate to them? That's why you are doing the planning work. Where you are through your plans, you are demonstrating this is the way we are going to execute the work and manage the work in order to achieve the deliverables as required by you. That's what you are demonstrating through them. So when they go through the plans, when you are developing the plan, no plan is good finalized in a single revision, right? You may go for revision 1, revision 2. You may present to them revision 1 and then they give you the feedback and then you revise it. Again, you present the next revision and so on, right? So when you reach to the revision 4, for example, all the stakeholders said, this plan is perfect. It's workable, achievable. So what they do? So they get the confidence on you. Oh, this team is having good understanding about the project. They have a plans for meeting all the requirements. They will be able to produce the deliverables as required by the stakeholders. This is the confidence they're getting. And what they will say in this situation? Guys, we are ready to give you any support you want in achieving these plans. That is the confidence we are creating. We are getting buy-in of the stakeholders into our plans. That's what the meaning of improved customer relations. Shorter development times. What does that mean? What are we looking for? We want to complete the project in a shortest time period as possible. That's what you are doing through the schedule development. Lower cost. How you get lower cost? If the resources allocated for the project is being utilized efficiently, it increases the productivity and reduces the cost. Higher quality and increased reliability. What is the meaning of quality? We are talking about quality and every day in the project, right? What is the meaning of quality? Is it luxury term? Applying the standards and specifications. Okay. What else? Quality is nothing but meeting the requirements of the stakeholders. That's all. If you meet the requirements given to you, you achieve the quality of the project. That's all. It's not a luxury term. Meeting the requirements. End of the day, When you produce the deliverables in the project, it looks very nice. You produce a deliverable, looks very nice. Nice shape, nice color, nice, everything looks nice. When they take this deliverable use in their business operation, they are facing a lot of difficulties. What is the use of this deliverable? So when I said quality means fitness for use, it should be easily usable by them in their business operation. So we will be able to achieve the higher quality and increase reliability, meaning they will be able to use this deliverable reliably in their business operations. Higher profit margin, this is what everybody is looking for, right? Improved productivity, better internal coordination between various disciplines or departments, higher work moral, meaning less stress. For who? For us as a project team members. Say, for example, you are working in a project where you do not have any formal procedures. What will happen to you? You will be getting directions on every day. You will be getting different responsibilities every day. You will be working under a lot of stress. I don't know what to do in this project. I don't know what I am doing in this project. That is the feeling of everybody in this situation. But if you are in an environment where we have a formal project management practices, they have a standard procedures, methodology, technology. You are being trained on the methodology, technology. You are involved in the planning. You understand the project work well. You understand the processes, how it is to be done. So you will be able to flow through the processes. You will be able to perform the work without any difficulties. You will not have any stress at all. That is the biggest advantage compared to all other advantages for us, right? Here, we are talking about triple constraint. Have you heard about the triple constraint? Whenever you are in the project, what are you facing constraints? Scope, time, cost. This is always our constraint. We need to manage these constraints because whenever you are making any adjustment to any of these constraints, the other constraints naturally get affected. Most importantly, quality gets impacted. Say, for example, you are trying to reduce the project duration. What will you do to reduce the project duration? You will increase the resources. When you are increasing the resources, what is the impact it creates? It creates the cost impact. Right. What is the other way of reducing the project duration? Quality can be reduced. Now you know the definition of quality, so you cannot say that. Quality is nothing but meeting the requirement. If you don't meet the requirements, what are you trying to reduce? No, that is not the aim. Normally what you do, certain activities you do in a particular sequence, right? Instead of doing that, say when I finish one activity, then I start next activity. Then I finish this activity, I will start next activity. Instead of doing that, I may do overlapping or I can do parallel. So when I do the parallel or overlapping activities, thereby I can reduce the duration. But you are increasing the risk to the project. You will end up with a lot of quality impact. You will end up with a lot of rework, so which we need to manage. So we need to have a lot of coordination efforts to minimize the rework whenever you are adopting the parallel or overlapping activities. So whenever you are managing these constraints, you need to have a balancing act. Meaning, whenever you are making adjustment to any of these constraints, you need to think about what will happen to other constraints. What is the best action we can take in order to minimize the impact on the other area? That's what it means. Here I'm trying to explain to you how the project management processes were developed. Have you heard about the cycle plan, do, check, act cycle? Mostly you are using it in the quality management area for achieving the continuous quality improvement. This is one of the principles. Say, for example, when you want to do something, will you straight away jump into action? You will think about how are you going to do it. You will come up with a plan of action for executing the work. Then you move to the execution. You execute, right? Do. While you are doing the work, we need to periodically measure whether we are working aligned with the plan. Are we working towards meeting the plans? If you see any deviation from in our performance towards meeting the plan, what will you do? You will act on it. You will take necessary corrective action so that you will be able to achieve the plans. The same principle used in developing the project management processes. They developed the initiating processes, planning processes, executing processes, monitoring control processes, and closing processes. When you compare with the plan to act cycle, initiation is the start of the cycle. Plan, which is planning. Do, executing. Check and act, which is monitoring and controlling. Closing is the end of the cycle. Here I'm trying to explain to you what are we trying to achieve from each process group, from initiation until closure. Initiation. What do you mean by initiation of the project? Any of you involved in the initiation of the project? I know most of you are working in the contractor, so you did not have a chance of involved in the initiation. I am muting all of you. When you want to talk to me, and then talk to me. Otherwise, don't unmute. If you want to talk to me, you have any doubt, then you can unmute and talk to me. So what you are talking about? Initiation, right? So you are, most of the time, you are involved in the project only at the start of the execution. Before start of the execution, there are a lot of work happening, right? Which you are not involved, but you must be aware. Say initiation. What is my initiation? For example, one of the client comes to me. Hello, Ravi, I want to develop a 40-story commercial office tower. I said, okay, good idea, sir. There's a lot of requirements in the market currently. So it's a good idea. Tell me, sir, what do you want to achieve in this project? What kind of information they can tell me at this stage of a project idea? Estimated cost. Okay. They may say, I am ready to spend 500 million for this project. Okay. What else? They may tell you, I have a land area of 20,000 square meters. I want to construct a building for 15,000 square meters. I want to construct 40 stories. I want each floor 6 to 8 offices, 1,000 to 1,500 square meters. I want my building to be designed with the latest unique architectural intent. I want to have an ample car parking space. So I want to construct multi-basement car parking. I want to have my building protected with the latest fire protection and security systems. I am ready to spend 500 million for this project, but I want my project to be completed in 3 years. I said, why, sir? It's very tough to complete in 3 years. What's the reason behind it? Sir, we have done a market analysis where the market is going to be in good condition for next 4 years. If I complete the project in 3 years, I will have a good 1-year market period in order to sell off the units or rent off the units. They did their feasibility studies, economic analysis, right? So they are telling you, this is what the expectations of the stakeholder. And they tell you, who are the key stakeholders of this project? So far already 10 organizations shown interest in taking offices from our development. And they are given certain requirements for us to fulfill, which I will also provide for you for developing it. Project details. And in our organization, we have multi-departments. We have engineering department, we have marketing department, we have sales department, we have construction department, we have management department, project management department. All these department managers will be involved in the project in making sure it is successful. This is the high-level information they can tell you. That's what we are doing in the initiation. So where we are developing the project charter, where we are defining the project at high level by clearly defining what is the objectives of this project, what are the high-level requirements of the key stakeholders, What are the key deliverables expected from this project? What is the timeline the stakeholder expecting us to complete? What is the budget they're ready to spend? What are the assumptions and constraints related to this project? Who are the key stakeholders of the project? And then sponsor and the key stakeholder signing the project. So which gives us the good understanding of what the stakeholders' expectation from this project. That's what we are achieving through the initiation, which is basically we are trying to gain the commitment of the key stakeholders in executing the project. That's what we are achieving through this initiation. Why we need to gain the buy-in or commitment of the key stakeholders? If the key stakeholders are not committed to the objectives of the project, they will keep changing their mind. They will keep changing the plans. They may make changes during the planning. They may make changes during the execution. Even they may make changes during the end of the execution or end of the project. So which will ruin the whole project. That's why we are trying to gain their commitment by defining the project at a high level, making sure they understand this is what we are going to get. Thereby, you can able to minimize the changes in the project. We cannot say changes will not happen. It will happen, but you can minimize the changes. Planning is nothing but basically we are developing our strategy and approach in executing this project. Executing processes where you are coordinating the people and other resources to achieve the project deliverables as required by the stakeholders. Monitoring and controlling. What about monitoring and controlling? While you are executing the work, we need to measure our performance. How are we doing with the scope, time, cost, quality, and so on, right? So you are measuring your current performance, comparing with your plan to see whether any deviation from the plan. If there is a deviation, which is called variance, that's a terminology, variance in the project. So when you are having variances, we must understand how much variances we are facing. Say, for example, delay. It could be 10 days delay or it could be 1 month delay. If 10-day delay, your action is different. 1 month delay, your action is different. So depending on the magnitude of variance, we are coming up with the necessary corrective action to improve the performance, which is called monitoring and control. Closing, what about closing? Plus, we don't like this project anymore, so we close. Right? End of the day, we need to deliver the agreed deliverables to the stakeholders for their business operation, which is handing over, right? So basically, during the closure, we are demonstrating to the stakeholders we have completed the project deliverable successfully, right? And then we are providing all the documentations to them, including the sign-up documentation given by them through the acceptance inspections, right? And we are giving all our project records are compiled properly and giving it to their future use. We are training the end users to make sure they understand the deliverable well. We created, we understand better, but they are going to use it, so they must understand also. So you are training them, and then you are also with them in performing the preventive maintenance work for 300 to 400 days. All this part of our closure activities. Here I'm trying to highlight to you what are the key results from each process group. Say in the initiation process, we are developing project charter or project brief. In the planning processes, we are developing a lot of plans, like scope management plan, schedule management plan, cost management plan, quality management plan, resource management plan, communications management plan, risk management plan, procurement management plan, stakeholder engagement plan, change management plan, process improvement plan, requirement management plan. Many plans are there. All are our strategies. And also you are finalizing the plans by going through the multi-revisions. Finally, you will have a scope baseline, schedule baseline, cost baseline, and performance measurement baseline. These are the 4 baselines you use in the project. Performance measurement baseline is basically integration of scope, time, and cost, which is useful for us in measuring the performance in an integrated manner. risk register. These are many results we are producing through the plan. So what is the final result of the project, our planning work? What's the final result of the planning work? Project management plan. What is the final result? Project management plan. So which is nothing but compilation of all our plans created in the planning work is called as project management plan. That is our comprehensive plan of action in executing and managing the performance through the project life cycle until we deliver to the stakeholders in the process. In the executing processes, basically executing is we are implementing the plans. When you're implementing the plan, what are you getting? You are producing the product or deliverables, managing change requests, managing issues, managing testing, all are happening. Then in the monitoring control processes, you are producing status report, progress report, quality report, managing changes, managing issues, all are happening. Then in the closer, product, process, and vendor evaluations. When we reach to the closer, we need to analyze. What we need to analyze? What all the product we created in this project? What all the product came up very well? What all the product we are not able to achieve it as required? Why? Where is the flaw in our processes? Did we not use the right methodology, technology? Did we not implement the processes properly or efficiently? We need to analyze so that we can make improvement in our selection of methodology, technology, standards, and so on. We also need to analyze our project management processes. What are the project management processes we utilize? What all the processes worked well? What all the processes didn't work well? I did not yield the expected result. Why? Where is the flaw in our process? So that we can make improvement. We also need to analyze who are the sellers we appointed. Who are the sellers gave us the good performance? Who are the sellers did not give us the good performance? Why? Where is the flaw? Is we have not selected them with the right criteria, or they do not have the right resources and capability. So we need to analyze so that we can make improvement in our procurement processes. Right? We also need to submit the acceptance documents, and we also need to perform legal, contract, and budget closure. What does that mean? While you are doing the project, you are appointing the various sellers. Why are you appointing them? Why are you appointing subcontractors, subconsultant, and so on? Why? Why are you appointing them? You don't have the resources. You don't know how to do. They have the resources. They know how to do, right? So we are seeking the external organization, those who are having capability, expertise, experience in carrying out the various nature of work. So you are appointing them. You appointed them through calling tender or calling proposal or calling quotation, whatever the methodology you use. Finally, you are appointing them. When you are appointing them, you are entering the contract, right? You are signing the contract, right? What is the contract? It is a legal binding. It is a legal binding between buyer and seller, defining the rules of engagement for carrying out the project work. Where in the contract, both parties are having obligations. Buyer as well as seller, both are having obligations. Right? So you enter the contract. So they mobilize the resources, they moved into the project, they are doing the project work. When they are doing the project work, you are using your monitoring control processes to monitor their performance, whether they are fulfilling our scope baseline, schedule baseline, cost baseline, whether quality standards are being implemented efficiently, effectively, whether they are deploying the resources according to our agreement, all this being monitored. And also we are monitoring whether each seller is fulfilling their obligations under the contract. There are many contractual obligations and conditions are defined in the contract document. So we need to monitor whether they are working towards meeting these obligations and conditions. Right? We are doing. Finally, when they finish the deliverable, what do? Your quality control team verifies the deliverable. They say, okay. and then you're calling the customer come for verification. And they come and verify they accepted it. And then what do? You take this deliverable to the closer and hand over to, right? This is one part of the handing over. The second part of the handing over, we need to go through each and every conditions of the contract to see whether they have fulfilled these contractual obligations and conditions. And then we close the contract formally. What do we close the contract formally? So by closing the contract formally, we are demonstrating that there is no further legal binding between these two parties. There is no further legal binding. Say, for example, you are not performing the contract closure. What will happen? After 6 months, buyer can sue the seller. Hey, you are not fulfilled this obligation during the life cycle of the project. Seller is going to sue the buyer. No, you are not fulfilling this obligation. I am suing you for 20 million. So what happened now? Both parties are entering into an unnecessary legal battle, right? Whereas we have every documentation through the life cycle of the project, we have every documentation to see their performance, to see their whether they are fulfilling these obligations and conditions. That's why it is being done through the part of the closure. Look at this framework. This is a project management framework. So you want to achieve the success. How can be achieved? In order to achieve the success, what are we doing? We are analyzing the stakeholders' needs and expectations. We are utilizing 10 knowledge areas: scope management, time management, cost management, quality management. These 4 knowledge areas are called as core functions of project management. We have the resource management, communications management, risk management, procurement management, stakeholder engagement. These are called facilitating functions of project management. There is one more knowledge area at the center, you can see, project integration management. This knowledge area integrates all of